Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. So today I am here to talk to you about the O.W.L. exams that I have passed over the month of April. Yeah, interesting. I can't remember if I passed all of them last year. I think I might have done 11. Well, I've done 10 this month. I'm still very much proud of myself. That is a hell of a lot of reads, even though a lot of them are graphic novels. But I am here to chat to you guys about the books that I read, what I felt about them, my little concise, hopefully, reviews on all of them. So basically this morning a letter arrived. Let me just get it real quick. IQ results. So this is my results letter and we'll see how I've done in my exams. There is actually one more book here that was not really in my O.W.L.s, but I'll speak about that one last, even though I did read it first, I think. Okay, so the first one that I have read for my O.W.L.s 2019 was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I matched this cover. Anyway, this is a book, this is a thriller book, described as a psychological thriller, which I suppose is accurate. And it's about a psychiatrist who basically seeks this case and wants to treat this particular woman who has committed a murder against her husband and has violently murdered her husband and has completely went mute. She was quite a well-known artist beforehand, so people are thinking, is this some sort of art thing or what is going on? But obviously our main guy gets the opportunity and moves around the country to get to this woman and treat her case and figure out why this happened and if there's a bit more to it. And of course there is a little bit more to it. And I have rated this 4 out of 5 stars because I really enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoyed it because it was really quick and really so different, because predominantly I read fantasy and I think it was kind of refreshing to delve into something that is set in this world so you don't have to build the new world in your head. Maybe I'm just slow, who knows? But anyway, I still like dark matter much more because that has a bit, it's like it's written for me, because all of the themes that are there is something that I'm really looking forward to in every book. But this one was my charms read. So because I had charms extra credit, I read it I think the day before the O.W.L.s main readathon began and had a really strong start. I read it in one day. I started in the evening and I read until like 3 a.m. because I needed to know what happened. And I think I just need a bit more thriller. Very good start to the readathon. Or so I thought. Okay, the next thing that I have finished was a Rick and Morty Dungeons and Dragons comic. Oh, it doesn't actually say a volume, just Dungeons and Dragons volume. And I enjoyed it. It was 3 out of 5 stars. It was, and you know, I still think I enjoyed the TV cartoon more because voice actors do such a great job voicing these. So it was a little bit like I was going a step backwards from that, but the story was, as Rick and Morty stories are, you know, mostly hilarious but with deep sadness in there. And we have recently started playing Dungeons and Dragons again with Logan and some friends of his, so it was enjoyable. It was extra enjoyable because of that. So not much to say. If you know Rick and Morty, that's pretty much that. And then, my friends, I read my first ever, well, not first ever, but first 5-star read in 2019, which is crazy because we're in May now, so it has been a weird year for my reads because I haven't gotten a 5-star, and I had 2 in the readathon, so I'm very excited about that. But An Ember in the Ashes, and I was so relieved because if you remember, for a couple of months now I kept saying I have such high hopes for this. This was a quarterly club read, which, by the way, the club is changing. I'll announce that really soon. I'm very excited. I gave it 5 stars. This has 2 main characters. Leah, who at the very beginning suffers an invasion into her home and sees her grandparents being murdered and her brother taken a prisoner because he's suspected of rebellious activity against the emperor, I think. She's left alone and she decides to find the actual rebellion and ask their help, and it's not quite as easy as she probably have thought, and they're asking for something in return, and she has to go and infiltrate the military building pretending to be a slave, because this is a universe where slavery is still a thing, very much so. And it's an extremely dangerous mission because a lot of people do not survive any more than a few weeks under this particular general. And our other main character is Elias, who we meet as a mask, basically a soldier in this universe, that military person. He is quite known to be one of the best fighters there. It's a very strict regime. You start very young, but he actually wants to run away, which is not even possible. There's a couple of people who get fined if they try to run away, and no one actually successfully done so yet. He really does not believe in the system anymore, and he wants to be done with it. The paths of the two characters obviously merge, and I just loved it so much. I think the writing style really clicked with me. I find that the more I read and the more I realize how much writing style actually means to me. It was such a joy and pleasure reading this book. I kept wanting to come back to it, which is very important to me. I enjoyed it so thoroughly, and I am so excited to get to the second one, hopefully sometime soon. I'm not gonna do my usual self, wanna just wait for months and months. But regardless, I'm so excited, and if you have a similar taste to mine, if you think you have a similar taste to mine, or if it's something that you think you would enjoy as well, definitely give this a go. Obviously, it's written quite a few years ago now, but I did hear that with every book it just gets better and better, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna be of the same opinion and it's gonna be even stronger 5 stars. If there's anything that I would criticize about this book, it's possibly magic system or the world building, because I don't think that it was explained that well, and I do like to know my magic system quite well when I'm reading the book, just for the clarity of things and just to enjoy it easier. But that being said, I had enough information to completely make sense of everything that was happening, and that is the most important thing to me. I really don't like it when I have to stop and think, huh? So excited to finally have read something by Sabaa Tahir. I have a feeling that she's gonna be one of my all-time favorite authors. I do need to continue reading this and let you know, but so pumped. So happy with it. The next thing was Rat Queens volume 3, I think. Yes, 3. This is a graphic novel about this misfit group of females who really do not care or give a lot of fucks about anything, and they just go about it kick-ass. And this one was following this character, and we're going to the University of Mages, and she's definitely not welcome there because of something that has happened, and her family is in danger currently, and she's just going to try and figure out what is happening, but she's sort of like hit with identity crisis. Our main group sort of gets split because of different opinions, and yeah, something comes out, and I think it was actually my favorite out of the 3 volumes that I have read. I did hear that I think the artist changed for the next one, so I'm scared because I really like the art of this one. It's super pretty. Oh my god, that dragon scene actually was my favorite. It's hilarious. This comic is hilarious. If also, as an added bonus, there's like representation for pretty much everything in this. It's a very diverse comic. I really enjoy it for the sass of it, for the art style, and for the humor of it. We'll hopefully get to the 4th one at some point, but I'm not like in a massive rush or anything. It's just something that I come back to. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Oh, sorry, An Ember in the Ashes was my Transfiguration read, and the Rat Queens was my Defense Against the Dark Arts read, and the next thing was a retelling, which I think was Ancient Runes. And I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and if you have seen some stats on Twitter, this was the most read book of O.W.L.s 2019 readathon, which is really cool. The second one was Illuminate, by the way. We read over 4 million pages together, and that's only the people who use the spreadsheet, which I think is the majority, but it's definitely not all of us. 4 million, and oh, it's just amazing. So Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, and Hufflepuff all took Charms the most. Like, the Charms was the most popular, most taken exam, which Charms extra credit kind of makes sense. Slytherin's most taken exam was Potions, and I just thought it was just such a perfect nugget of knowledge there. It was just so perfect. They stayed true to their craft. Curse So Dark and Lonely was my Ancient Runes read, and I loved it. I know there's like mixed opinions about this one, and I can definitely see why. First of all, not everyone really likes like a Beauty and the Beast retelling because it's been done so many times now, I'm aware. This is definitely my favorite of them all so far. I haven't read that many, to be fair, so maybe that helps. This is about a girl who was taken from DC and then, funnily enough, is referred to Princess of DC, but like D-I-S-I. It's hilarious. She also has cerebral palsy, which I have not read a book with anyone like that, but what I loved about it was that it did not define her as a character. It was something on the side, something that she was or she had, but it wasn't overly pushed or overly focused as like a plot device or anything like that at all, which I really appreciated. So she's basically taken instead of another girl because she was trying to defend the girl that was about to be taken by Gray, who is the only guard that's left for the Beast character, Ren. She is fully aware of, you know, Stockholm Syndrome, and she really does not take it lightly that they just kidnap girls. It does not go well with her, as you know, you would think. But what I like the most about this is how this retelling focused on the actual village is suffering together with this curse for the Beast part. And this girl fell in love with the town rather than the guy. So there's obviously, it's very much like, it starts with the hatred and everything like the normal one, but I heard that it doesn't go too far for the beginning, at least, away from the original, not the Disney version, but like the original tale. I liked a couple of things on here the most. First of all, the writing style. The writing style has such short, to the point, strong sentences. I live for it. It's pretty much like 70–80% actually dialogue. Any page you open is just filled with dialogue. I really enjoyed it. There's very little description. I understand it's not for everyone though. If you're looking for troublesome things or things that are troubling, of course there's like, it's kidnapping, you know, like of course it's not ideal, but I really am not a person who thinks that books should not have problematic things in them. I feel like reader is smart enough to filter those things themselves and like not think, oh, you know, actually kidnapping is cool now, you know? That's a topic for a different time. It actually scraped 5 stars, like just. I think it was literally 9 on my Copile rating scale, which is like the lowest for the 5 stars. But I enjoyed it so much. I kept wanting to read it. I kept wanting to pick it up. I thought that there was so many. Oh, I just remembered my favorite part. My favorite thing about this book is that there are scenes that are very subtle, like very subtle emotions, very subtle little things that characters do with each other or that think about one another, that was so nicely, subtly done without explaining it, and that is the main point. I find that a lot of books nowadays, especially in YA, will do something meaningful and then also break it down to you because you couldn't pick it up yourself, you know? Basically book-splain it to you after they've written it, and I'm like, but it ruins now, you know, when it's like someone would tell you a good joke and then also break down the joke and tell you why it's funny. To me, like that in books, if something important or emotionally impactful happened and then they wrap it up and explain it point to point as if you cannot interpret it, that drives me nuts. And I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't speak about, but to me, it breaks the book, or at least like it puts like a lot of points down. I felt like it was very minimal of that in this book, and I loved it. There were some scenes, there's one scene where Ren is speaking with Gray when he's on the watch. Ooh, like it's not a spoiler at all, but like if you read this book, like I love that scene so much. So basically, I really enjoyed it. It was very big, it was quite a big surprise because I thought it's gonna be 3 to 4 stars, like at best. And then I loved it, so hooray. At the same time, I definitely see this not being everybody's cup of tea. Even if you do like similar books to me, this one, I don't know if everyone who has similar taste to me would like. I think it's a very personal type of preference, but I really liked it. So I was happy about that. The next thing that I read was Monstrous. I think this was on Potions, like a sequel. It is volume 3. I didn't even rate anything. I didn't put a rating on Goodreads for this one because I just don't know how to rate it. This is one of those that has the most beautiful... This is my absolute favorite art style I've ever seen anywhere, ever, I think. It's just the most stunning style there is to me. My problem with this was, sure, it was a while back that I have read the second one now, but I just remembered so little about the plot, or like the overarching thing is about this girl who has God inside of her and it comes out as a monster. So that is like the very gist of it. But it is a very political one, and I really enjoyed the first one, and then I feel like the plot is not clear at all, not memorable, and it really kind of pissed me off because there was definitely books or comics that I have had bigger gaps between the volumes and I had no issues going back to, but this one just has proven to be a bit of a disappointment. And I thought maybe it was just me, but I actually have a couple of you guys told me when I mentioned this in the vlog that you felt the exact same way, so it can't just be me. So it's kind of disappointing because I really want to love this and I still love it, but I don't know if I don't think I will continue on with volume 4, so it's just kind of... So I didn't rate it anything because I should reread the first two and then go into this one, but I also didn't want to reread it, you know? I didn't want to spend my time rereading it, so I didn't rate it anything, but I did finish it and it's beautiful. So. Then I read I Hear the Sunspot, which was a book for my Muggle studies, and this is another volume of, well, this one's called Theory of Happiness. The first one is just Theory, I Hear the Sunspot. And the story is about two guys, both in university. One has hearing disabilities and the other one is taking notes of the lectures for the other guy. He's not great at it, but he's trying and he's getting sort of like lunches in return. And I cannot help but smile thinking about this, even now talking about it. I gave it 4 out of 5 for this one. I think the first one was 5 out of 5. It's a very fluffy but also down-to-earth story about two people who just blossom in the most beautiful friendship. It's just such a simple, grounding story. A lot of just like everyday life things that people deal with. Obviously, a lot of the story does focus about how lonely and excluded people with hearing disabilities can feel like, because it is very excluding. Then we have The Sender, which I think was my Everthmancy one. Volume 3, and oh, I just love this comic so much. It was your guys' recommendation. Thank you so much. I can't remember now who specifically recommended it to me, but thank you so much. It was more than one person. And you guys are absolutely right. I am loving this comic so much. I cannot wait to read the 4th one. This one in particular, I saw on Goodreads that a lot of people really disliked because this is basically a selection of issues put together about their backstories of the main characters. The overall story is about this robot guy, robot boy, who is basically meant to be a companion bot or android, who accidentally seems to share the same code with these giant monsters that have landed on their planet earlier and are just destroying everything. And this is quite a few years later when everything just went to shit. I just loved it so much, and the Driller story, if you have read this and you know the Driller in here, ooh, it just hit me in all of the feels. Literally, this hit me in so many feels, and I do not get hit in the feels very easily. So 5 out of 5. I love it. So far, other than Monstrous, it's really going well. And this is, I feel like, when things started like going not that great, but it's fine. So the next thing was Every Heart a Doorway, and this is that book where it's sort of supposed to showcase people who are coming from places like Alice in Wonderland, like, you know, they slipped by the door or under the bed and went to a different kind of world and then came back, and how they deal with that. I know this is beloved by a lot of people, you know, so I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but obviously don't get offended. I just really did not get along with it. It took me, this little beast, took me so long to read that it's ridiculous. Same can be said about this one that I'm gonna talk about in a while. I feel like those two like took me a week each, which explains that the tray is almost empty now. But I think I just really don't like the writing style in this. I like the idea. I did not like that writing style. I felt like I didn't care for any of the characters. I found the majority to be absolutely annoying. But again, that might just be because of the writing style. I felt like I knew none of them. I felt like I did not have, like, some of them were so interchangeable, even though they have definitely quirks of their own. Quirky is definitely a word for this. I just didn't, it was not for me. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, mainly for the idea. And the last bit was okay. I hated the ending. I think it just sort of erased the whole point. I did not enjoy this. I did not feel, this is basically like a murder mystery as well. I did not care who's done what. There were a few bits that were kind of nice and kind of interesting, but I just felt like I was hoping for so much, and just like, it was not for me. It simply was not for me. Didn't like the writing, didn't like how it was done, didn't like the descriptions, didn't like a lot of things. But again, obviously there's a book for everyone, and there's obviously books that are not gonna suit others. I'm just very sad because I thought it would be my thing, but it's okay. I'm not as disappointed in this one as I am in my next read, which is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I think what sucks the most is that I was basically going into this being like, yeah, it's gonna be 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. Because in theory, it sounds like it's absolutely everything I want. Obviously it has androids, artificial intelligence, I'm very into. Existential type of who is sentient, what counts as alive question theme, which I'm again very much into. A futuristic setting that I'm again very much into. A more character-based type of book, which again I'm more into. But like, I don't know, I started it being very, very excited about it. I loved the beginning of it. Can I even tell you what this is about, other than what I already mentioned? Not so much. I felt like the plot went zigzagging, but also went nowhere at the same time, at the same point. There was no intrigue to even speak about. I didn't rate this yet because I do have an essay open on my computer, and I want to read that essay first before rating this, because I have very mixed feelings. I really appreciate it for what it was. Plus there were a couple of things that I really enjoyed in general. Just like little things, like this I think is set in 2021 or 22, but they mention like 2019 as in like this far in the future year when things gone wrong, and it's just silly because in comparison obviously what they thought this future is gonna be like. Well, it's not like he thought that, but you know, technology wise. And also because this is written in 68, I think, like 1968, whenever they mention Russia, it's still a Soviet Union, which I thought was just so interesting. But anyway, and I really did appreciate the whole community, or like putting value on you through or ranking you whether or not and what type of animal you have, because animals are basically extinct, so they're very rare. I don't know. This left me disappointed. It was a struggle to read because I just didn't care. It left me frustrated as well because I really should, and it's just, maybe I read it in the wrong time. I really doubt that I will reread this. I have not seen the movie, so I might do that. I'm just sad. I'm sad because I really wanted to like that one. Was Divination, I think. There's only one more book left that was outside of O.W.L.s because I have started it before the O.W.L.s began, and that is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I was so sad. I feel like I've started really strongly, and then this video, just everything at the back is like bad. I actually really enjoyed Caraval, and literally everyone other than one person that I know loves Caraval less than Legendary. So they liked Legendary and then, sorry, liked Caraval and then really loved Legendary. And I just didn't. It was so sad. At the beginning I enjoyed Legendary more than I enjoyed Caraval at the beginning, but I felt like Caraval had more of this sinister feel, more of a deceit, more cruelty type of things in it than Legendary did, and Legendary I felt like had even less of a structure. But the whole series is about these two girls who are invited into Caraval, and Caraval is this deceitful type of event when there is a competition and the winner gets a wish. Things start to mess up with your head and you don't know what is real and what is just the game. In Legendary we'll obviously continue where we are looking at things from a different sister's perspective, and I was excited about that because I thought I would like her more. Like, I enjoyed it, but there were so many things that didn't make sense to me. I think I wrote to a friend sort of like ranting about some stuff. A good point is that I'm still very intrigued for the third book, which is coming out soon, so that's good. Because there is a plot, like subplot thing that we don't get to explore yet, but we are definitely going to in the third one. and I am very, very much there for it. I want this person to wake up and tell us stuff. So it's a rare case of me continuing with the series after a book gets 2 out of 5 stars, I want to say. Yeah, 2 out of 5 stars. It was a high 2, but it was still not even a 3. You know. That is all for the things that I have read. And similarly to last year, I have also made a little printable for you guys, and I will link it down below. One is in the parchment background and another one is in white if you are printing on parchment already. So this is how the letter looks like. You basically put your name right here and then you circle if you passed or didn't, or like not applicable for the exams. And so if you want to find this one and also print it out, you can obviously download that for free down below. So I have passed 10 out of 12 this month, which is absolutely fine because I have passed everything that I needed for my curse breaker career. So, and more, because I needed I think 6. I think it's fine. I think I did fine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So in addition to all of the other forms that we have done over this readathon, I have also created one where we can input our favorite read, and you can also find a link to the spreadsheet where the favorite read is there in the list. So everybody from all of the books that they've read that month pick one of their favorite books and recommend, and also include the reasons why they recommend that book. So if you're looking for recommendations, especially around news time, which is gonna be in August if all things go right, then that list is already being populated by you guys. There's also a bit in the form where you can leave your handle for Instagram or Twitter if you want someone to contact you if they have read your recommendation, if you want to chat with each other and talk about the book, because that's how you make friends, you know? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the O.W.L.s. Thank you so much for participating if you had. I think that is it. Chat with me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!